Donald Trump won re-election in large part because he promised to fix the American economy. But 14 months into this second term, it seems the cornerstone of the president's agenda is starting to crack. As our own Akayla Gardner points out, Trump's approval rating on the economy hit an all-time low this month. 29% is lower than any point in the Biden presidency, even during the months when inflation peaked at 9.1%. And maybe that's because when it comes to the messaging of this administration, it can feel pretty out of touch.
You can give up pencils. That's under the China policy. You know, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need one or two. You know, they don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need $37 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice, but you don't need $37.
We've run over 1,000 simulations. It can cost around $3 a meal for a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, corn tortilla, and one other thing.
Maybe your parents for their retirement bought 5, 10, 12 homes, so we don't want to push the mom and pops out.
The U.S. economy is fundamentally sound, and that if it were to be extended, it wouldn't really disrupt the U.S. economy very much at all. It would hurt consumers, and we'd have to think about, if that continued, what we would have to do about that. But that's like really the last of our concerns right now.
What can you tell us about what's happening there?
Well, one of the most extraordinary things about President Trump is, despite the fact that he's a billionaire, he's a former reality TV star, he has really been able to solidify the shift of working class voters to the Republican Party. And in 2024, you could see why. He constantly talked about inflation and gas prices and said that would be a day one priority of his administration to address Americans' concerns. But now that he's in office, he rarely acknowledges that these continue to be concerns for so many Americans. And we've heard him and his aides, as you played in those clips earlier, frankly telling people to shop less or shop smarter. And we're now seeing candidates, Republican candidates, also adopt this.
It used to be during the past wars, especially World War II, Americans got behind our servicemen and women, and we did little things to show our support for them. We collected metal, we recycled stuff, aluminum, so that we could, help in the war effort. I think right now, at least just kind of keeping a stiff upper lip, maybe you take one less trip to Starbucks, and so that gas goes a little further until this thing is over and these gas prices come back down again.
And people living in poverty are just not very, they're not very experienced at navigating the real world.
I spoke to one Republican strategist who called these messages more than tone deaf and in some cases shameful.